Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of NASCAR's Nicest Guy, Michael Annett. Michael Annett is a former NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Craftsman Truck Series, and ARCA Series driver that competed from 2007 through 2021, spending time behind the wheel of several different teams' race cars, such as Bill Davis Racing, Germain Racing, Rusty Wallace Racing, Richard Petty Motorsports, Tommy Baldwin Racing, H. Scott Motorsports, and JR Motorsports. Annett was able to climb all the way up to the NASCAR Cup Series to run full-time in the series in the mid-2010s. Always a solid driver, according to many of his former owners and team members, Annett was an even better person and friend. Born June 23, 1986, to Harold and Deborah Annett in Des Moines, Iowa. Getting his start in racing after high school at a track in Iowa named Hawkeye Downs. In 2007, Annett made the jump up to the American Speed Association, or ASA. Now, in all fairness, this version of ASA was nothing near as competitive as the series was back in the 1980s, but I digress. In 2007, Michael made his ARCA Series debut at Iowa in the early summer, behind the wheel of Kevin Swinski's number 32 TMC Dodge, starting first, leading 8 laps, and finishing a solid third. TMC was his father's trucking company. Later in the summer, Annett would make a couple more ARCA Series starts in the number 32 Dodge at Nashville and Gateway, starting third both times, and finishing 8th and 6th. At Talladega in the fall, Annett picked up a one-race ride with Bill Davis Racing behind the wheel of the number 28 Pilot Travel Center's Toyota. Michael qualified second, led 75 laps out of the 90-lap event, on his way to his first career ARCA Series victory at Talladega. Due to the correlation between Annett's father's trucking company and Pilot Flying J, the nation's largest truck stop chain, Pilot Flying J would remain on the side of Michael Annett's race cars for the remainder of his career. Overall, in 4 ARCA Series starts in 2007, Annett scored 1 pole, 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 4 top 10s, returning to Davis's number 28 Toyota in the ARCA Series in 2008, running the first 6 races of the season. His best start was third, and his best finish was first, both coming at Daytona in the spring. Overall, in 6 ARCA Series starts, Annett scored 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 4 top 10s. Moving up to the Craftsman Truck Series to take over Bill Davis Racing's number 22 Toyota, from race 11 through race 18. Doug Wilcott served as his crew chief while he drove that number 22 truck. Annett's best start in that truck was 5th at Nashville in the late summer, and his best finish was 2nd at Kentucky in the summer. Overall, in 8 Craftsman Truck Series starts, Annett scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. At the conclusion of the 2008 season, Michael signed a contract with Germain Racing to drive for the team full-time in the Xfinity Series in 2009. He made his debut for Germain Racing and for the Xfinity Series at Homestead in 2008, behind the wheel of the team's number 03 Hype Energy MFP Toyota, starting 29th and finishing 36th, following a lap 138 accident. Finally, in 2009, Michael Annett made the jump to the Xfinity Series full-time, running for Rookie of the Year honors, behind the wheel of Germain Racing's number 15 Pilot Travel Center's Toyota. Bruce Cook began the season as Annett's crew chief, until the end of race 14, before he and Mike Hillman passed the position back and forth, until Hillman took over the position following race 21 in Iowa. Hillman remained the number 15's crew chief until the end of race 27 in Richmond. That's when Rudy Fugle took over for the remaining 8 races of the season. Michael was able to qualify for all 35 events, spending the vast majority of the season working his way up from the mid-teens up to 10th position in final point standings. Annett's best start was 4th at Kentucky in the early summer, and his best finish was 6th at California in the fall. Overall, in 35 starts, Annett scored 4 top 10s, finishing 10th in final Xfinity Series point standings, and finishing 2nd in overall Rookie of the Year standings. Remaining behind the wheel of Germain Racing's number 15 Pilot Travel Center's Toyota, full-time in the Xfinity Series in 2010. Fugle remained Annett's crew chief also in 2010, spending the season between 10th and 18th in point standings. They had a couple of pretty solid runs. Annett's best start was 11th at Dover in the fall, and his best finish was 7th at Iowa in the summer. Overall, in 35 starts, Annett scored 2 top 10s, finishing 13th in final Xfinity Series point standings. At the conclusion of the 2010 season, Annett and Germain Racing parted ways. In 2011, Michael made a one-year stop at Rusty Wallace Racing, behind the wheel of the number 62 Pilot Travel Center's Flying J Toyota full-time. Jason Overstreet began the 2011 season as Annett's crew chief, but by race 15 in Michigan, Ricky Byers took over the position for the remainder of the Xfinity Series season, spending the first 14 races working his way up into the top 10 in points. In the final 20 races, Annett stayed between 8th and 10th in points. Michael's best start was 8th twice, at Talladega in the spring and IRP in the summer. His best finish was 6th twice, at Daytona in the summer and Bristol in the fall. Overall, in 34 starts, Annett scored 7 top 10s, finishing 9th in final Xfinity Series point standings, leaving Rusty Wallace Racing at the conclusion of the 2011 season. All this because Rusty Wallace Racing was shutting down. Therefore, Annett needed to find a new ride, becoming the new driver of the new Richard Petty Motorsports full-time Xfinity Series entry, the number 43 Pilot Travel Center's Flying J Ford. Felipe Lopez served as Annett's crew chief while he drove that number 43 Ford. Michael spent all but 1 week between 5th and 8th in points throughout the 2012 season. Annett's best start was 5th at Kentucky in the summer. His best finish was 3rd twice, at Daytona in the summer and Dover in the fall. Overall, in 33 starts, Annett scored 6 top 5s and 17 top 10s, finishing 5th in final Xfinity Series point standings. After such a strong season in 2012, Michael, of course, returned to the Richard Petty Motorsports number 43 Pilot Travel Center's Ford full-time. Unfortunately, on lap 115 of the 120-lap event at Daytona International Speedway to open the 2013 season, Annett was involved in a serious accident, breaking and dislocating his sternum, requiring surgery. This kept him out of the number 43 Ford for the next 8 races, returning at race 10 in Charlotte. Michael's best start was 8th in Atlanta in the late summer, and his best finish was 5th at Loudon in the summer. Overall, in 26 starts, Annett scored 1 top 5 and 4 top 10s. At the conclusion of this 2013 season, even missing 8 races early in the season, he still worked his way back up to 15th in final Xfinity Series point standing. At the conclusion of the 2013 season, Petty and Annett parted ways, so Annett could make the jump up to the Cup Series. Finally, in 2014, Michael Annett made his NASCAR Cup Series debut in the Daytona 500 to start a full-time season driving Tommy Baldwin Racing's number 7 Pilot Travel Center's Chevrolet. Kevin Manion served as his crew chief for the 2014 season. Now, in all fairness to all involved, Tommy Baldwin is one hell of a knowledgeable crew chief, but as far as the Cup Series team that he ran for a while, there from 2009 to 2020, they were one of the smaller full-time race teams. Against the bigger teams, it was difficult to be all that competitive. Michael spent the 2014 season between 30th and 37th in points. Annett's best start was 10th at Talladega in the fall, and his best finish was 16th at Talladega in the spring. Overall, in 36 starts, Annett scored 4 top 20s, finishing 32nd in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Michael returned to the Craftsman Truck Series in 2014, making a one-off start at Eldora Speedway, behind the wheel of a number 14 Chevrolet, owned by Bob Newberry. Annett started 30th and finished 1 lap down in 25th. At the conclusion of the 2014 season, Baldwin and Annett parted ways. Even though Michael left Tommy Baldwin Racing, he remained a full-time NASCAR Cup Series driver, moving over to H. Scott Motorsports as a teammate to Justin Allgaier, behind the wheel of a number 46 Pilot Flying J Chevrolet. Jay Guy served as Annett's crew chief for the 2015 season. After a strong finish in the season-opening Daytona 500, Annett quickly fell back into the 30s in points by race 4, staying between 31st and 36th for the remainder of the 2015 season. Annett's best start was 18th at Daytona in the summer, and his best finish was 13th at Daytona in the spring. Overall, in 35 starts, Annett scored 1 top 15 and 1 top 20, finishing 36th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. That following season, in 2016, Michael Annett returned to the H. Scott Motorsports number 46 Chevrolet full-time for one more season in the NASCAR Cup Series. Guy returned as his crew chief in 2016, but following race 19 in Loudon, Mike Hillman took over as the number 46 team's crew chief for the remainder of the 2016 season. This was another long, difficult season for Annett, spending all but the first 3 races between 32nd and 37th in point standings. Annett's best start was 22nd at Daytona in the spring, and his best finish was 20th at Daytona in the summer. Overall, in 35 starts, Annett scored 1 top 20, finishing 36th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. At the conclusion of the 2016 season, Scott Motorsports and Michael Annett parted ways, making the wise decision to drop back down to the Xfinity Series starting in 2017. A series where he certainly could find a solid ride with his Pilot Travel Center sponsorship money. That's exactly what he did, finding a home at JR Motorsports, the team in which Michael would spend the remainder of his career driving for. The first couple of seasons, he drove a number 5 Pilot Flying J Chevrolet full-time for JR Motorsports. Jason Stockart began serving as Annett's crew chief starting in 2017. Also, another big change that the Xfinity Series made while Annett was away running the Cup Series was that in 2016 they switched from a full season point system to a playoff elimination style point system. 12 drivers make the playoffs, with 4 drivers getting eliminated following each round, with 3 rounds making up the entire playoff. The winner of the final round is how the top 3 series determine their champion now. Annett spent all but 1 week between 6th and 12th in points, making the playoffs, getting eliminated in round 1. Michael's best start was 5th at Indianapolis in the summer, and his best finish was 2nd at Elkhart Lake in the late summer. Overall, in 33 starts, Annett scored 1 top 5 and 7 top 10s, finishing 9th in final Xfinity Series point standings. For the 2018 Xfinity Series season, Michael Annett remained behind the wheel of JR Motorsports number 5 Chevrolet full-time. Stockart began the 2018 season as Annett's crew chief, but Travis Mack took over the position starting at race 20 in Watkins Glen. The change was good, too, because up to that point, Michael had yet to score a top 10. Once Mack took over as crew chief, he scored 3. Annett's best start was 5th at Talladega in the spring, and his best finish was 7th at Bristol in the late summer. Overall, in 33 starts, Annett scored 3 top 10s, finishing 14th in final Xfinity Series point standings. Things really began to improve for Annett starting in 2019, as he remained driving for JR Motorsports, but was behind the wheel of a now renumbered number 1 Pilot Flying J Chevrolet. Mack would remain his crew chief for the next couple seasons. The 2019 season was such an improvement. Annett spent the season between 2nd and 11th in point standings. Michael's best start was 1st at Talladega in the spring, and his best finish was 1st at Daytona in the spring. This is both his first Xfinity Series pole and his first Xfinity Series victory of his career. Overall, in 33 starts, Annett scored 1 pole, 1 win, 6 top 5s, and 19 top 10s, easily making the playoffs, but getting eliminated in round 2, finishing 9th in final Xfinity Series point standings. As the sport entered into a brand new decade, the 2020s, in 2020, Michael Annett remained behind the wheel of JR Motorsports number 1 Pilot Flying J Chevrolet full-time. This was another very strong season for Michael Annett, spending the season between 5th and 13th in points, making the playoffs and being eliminated in the first round. Annett's best start was 1st 3 times, actually 3 races in a row in the middle of the summer, at Texas, Kansas, and Elkhart Lake. His best finish was 4th at Phoenix in the fall. Overall, in 33 starts, Annett scored 3 poles, 0 wins, 4 top 5s, and 22 top 10s, finishing 9th once again in final Xfinity Series point standings. The 2021 Xfinity Series season would end up being Annett's final season as an active competitor behind the wheel of a race car in NASCAR. Again, behind the wheel of JR Motorsports number 1 Pilot Flying J Chevrolet. Mike Bumgarner became Annett's crew chief in 2021. Michael made the first 17 starts of the season before a stress fracture to his femur kept him out of the driver's seat for a few races. Then, after returning to the racetrack, Annett re-injured his leg while working out. A long recovery time would lead Michael to announcing his retirement from NASCAR following the 2021 season. Prior to his injury, Annett was on track to make the playoffs once again in 2021. Annett made 26 starts throughout his final season. His best start was 4th at the Roval in the fall. His best finish was 3rd at Elkhart Lake in the summer. Overall, in 26 starts, Annett scored 1 top 5 and 10 top 10s, finishing 15th in final Xfinity Series point standings. Sadly, on December 5th, 2025, Michael Annett passed away, to the surprise of many fans in the NASCAR world. Our thoughts and prayers are with Annett's friends and family during this very difficult and tragic time. So, overall, on 106 NASCAR Cup Series starts, Annett scored 1 top 15 and 6 top 20s, with the best points finish of 32nd in 2014. In 321 Xfinity Series starts, Annett scored 4 poles, 1 win, 19 top 5s, and 95 top 10s, with the best points finish of 5th in 2012. In 9 Craftsman Truck Series starts, Michael scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. And in 10 ARCA Series starts, Annett scored 1 pole, 2 wins, 5 top 5s, and 8 top 10s, with the best points finish of 35th in 2008. Thanks for watching, everyone. Rest in peace, Michael Annett.